Greetings, loyalists and heretics. Welcome to Iron and Ceramite, where we once again enter the warp without an astropath.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Iron and Ceramite podcast. I'm John and I'm joined seemingly only by Shane and Glenn at the moment. Hello guys.
Hiya.
Hello.
Get my words out. I've only had one drink so I shouldn't be struggling already.
Lightweight.
Yeah. So how you guys doing? Good?
Yes.
Yeah,
Very
not
well.
too bad.
Recovered from Laser Quest, not being the champion?
I have. I said I only wanted to place as long as I didn't get beaten by the kids. So I had no issues with where I finished. I think very consistent in my numbers, so I'll take that.
Yeah, not too bad. I'm not counting the last game.
Well, they all count. You're only as good as your last game on the
No, my last game was crap. We took a load of kids Laser Quest and showed them how crap they are, Glenn, on the weekend. Made ourselves feel really good. I think we ruined those teenagers' day.
They left. Yeah, they weren't too happy. It is what it is.
Yeah, that was a good day.
It was very, very entertaining. As I said, would definitely do it again.
Yeah.
Although very, very very hot in a pitch black, like clapped out building in a sort of commercial estate in Medway.
Yeah,
is quite warm.
Yeah, but those kids looked terrified when you were screaming for the Emperor and running at them.
Yes, they weren't too impressed with that. As I said, they didn't quite understand where I was coming from, but it's fine.
No, it was when you started hitting them with a shovel.
Yes, that's
and
it.
A gas mask that scared them the most.
It did. The old referee went down after just one club, and that was it. The kids at that point were like, "Whoa, hang on."
Yeah. And that's why Dave's not here. He didn't survive, unfortunately.
No, took out by an 8-year-old melter.
Yeah. Anyway, well, what are we talking about? Well, we had a decent response from our last one with the wrestlers as Primarchs as wrestlers. I think we missed a few obvious choices.
Yeah, I mean, I said I heard there was a bit of people enjoying that content, which is always nice. So it's good, and it was I thought it was fun for us to do. What were the obvious ones that came up? That's
so I told you some. I can't remember everybody who said it, but a good one for Fulgrim was Gold Dust.
Oh yes, yeah,
I like that one,
especially Fallen Fulgrim. I think is
oh definitely, yeah.
Maybe going down that road.
We had someone say Eric Bischoff for the Emperor. I don't agree with that one.
I think it could work, but it would change the dynamic of the other picks.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's fine. I think it just might change what some of the other bits and pieces. Glenn, what do you think about Bischoff?
No, just no.
No,
because as much as we don't like Vince has made it what it is today.
Yeah,
so it has to be Vince.
Saw a Cactus Jack for Morty. That fits. That was not too bad.
Maybe.
I don't think he was too smelly though. More Mankind. I've lost. I did have them here on. Yeah, I think they were. Oh, someone said for Jagatai Khan, Road Warrior, or Hawk, or Animal. Sorry, Road Warrior. One of the Road Warriors.
Yeah, that's probably better actually. That could have worked quite well.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think we did. I think our list was pretty good.
Yeah.
I still like Biker Taker for the Khan though.
I'm not having it. Yeah, hard veto on that, I'm afraid. Still, I thought about it for a week. It still ain't happening.
No. That's a shame.
Yeah, we'll have to have a think about Primarchs as other things or other things as things, or at some point. Don't want to use all the A material right out the gate.
No. But speaking of A material, some rules for the Death Guard have appeared.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, since we last caught up, we've got, what did we have? We had Death Guard, Tau, Knights.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything else? Were they the three?
Was Admech
Admech and Guard?
No, I've got Eldar, I think.
Eldar. Yeah, I think that was it because we had Chaos, and then, it must be Admech, Eldari, Death Guard, the Knights, and Tau.
Fair enough. Well, as our Tau player's not on that, neither is our Knights player, so we'll come back to those. But as the Death Guard player, like, because I've heard good things and I've heard bad things. I've heard like, for me, I looked at it and I was like, okay, there's some changes in there, some quite big. But how do you feel about it as someone that uses the army?
Like, this is the thing. My immediate look at it was, where's Morty? Because Ultramarines and World Eaters got their Primarch. So that was, I think, my reaction of being disappointed was because there was no Primarch to look at. So I had to take a day to sort of get over that. But all in all, I've seen a lot on Facebook. It's all doom and gloom. Everyone's saying, "Oh, Death Guard's getting shelved. I'll come back for 11th," and all that sort of stuff. But we've said a few times, and I've seen a lot of people saying, you've got to forget, you're not comparing the 10th edition rules to 9th edition rules because it's going to be a new game. So it's just like,
it's how it's balanced against.
Don't compare, like I'm about to. Don't compare my Blight Lords, how they're going to be, to how they are now, because we'll see. Because the game's going to balance itself out. I've got only two units have been revealed, so I would say I'm a mixed bag, but staying optimistic for the rest of the codex. But Contagion Reign's better because it's higher from the beginning. So first battle round 3 inches as opposed to 1. Second battle round 6 inches, and then third round it goes to the full 9 and stays that way to the end of the game. So that's good. So yeah, that's the first good. Sticky objectives.
Yep.
So Spread the Sickness is no longer a secondary. It's just sticky objectives, which I think every Space Marine or Chaos Marine are getting, aren't they?
Well, they got it in arcs, and I think it's going to be the case moving forward. And I think, like with the Death Guard one, the thing that they got with it as well, which is good, is it gives the objectives contagion range as well, doesn't it?
It does. That's the that's a good addition as well. So anyone taking it off of you got that struggle, and then there's the strat they've given out, Sangrious Flux.
Yeah.
So use that 1 CP, and then if I'm standing on it, then I'm not too sure what sustained hits does yet. I haven't got that far through the rules leak.
Yeah.
But basically, yeah, if I'm on the sustained hits, or if I start that again, if I use that strat, anything with sustained hits goes up, and then if I'm on the marker controlling that, then it goes up by 2. So
I think
there's a way to make it better.
I think the sustained hit, I might have got this one wrong, but I think that's the one where you get its 6s explode effectively.
Okay.
So it's like, because I think a 6 is classed as a critical hit, and that's what this is. I think that's what it was. Right. It'll all come out when we play it, but yeah.
So whatever sustained hits does, that's going to help. So that's all right. So the strats that have come out, I like, and the army rules, they're all good. Terminators losing an inch, not a fan of that because they're slow enough as it is. So their movement's gone from 5 inches to 4 inches.
Yeah, but you against other Terminators, you've got +1 toughness and +1 save compared to other Terminators.
Yeah, so that's one thing. It's like, yeah, all right, they're going to be slower, but at least they're hopefully a bit more resilient. The obviously the worry is, or the concern is disgustingly resilient gone, or how is that going to come back? because I feel like that makes a big difference. I know that's what keeps me on the table for a lot longer than I probably should be a lot of the time. Maybe it's the way I play it, but yeah, that's a worry. But if it's a strat or something, I don't know. I feel like
Yeah, I
that's
don't know.
Death Guard's appeal to a lot of people.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe it'll be in one of the what's it called? The what do they call it? Regiment setups.
Yeah.
That you get that as the detachment rule.
Mm.
But I don't know.
The first company or something.
Mm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Otherwise,
It's interesting. It's not been mentioned. That was the big one that I had. That was like, oh, I wonder where that's gone.
yeah, that's the thing. Like the Facebook thing, everyone's saying, "Oh, it's gone. Like we're useless. We're dead." But obviously, we've got to see how the game works. But that's probably the biggest concern. I mean, they've tidied everything up like everyone else. AP's going down. Damage is sort of the same. They're not too bad. And then I like the way the playcaster looks as well because we've got him, and obviously he's my best psyker at the minute. Morty aside, he's the one I always take. So
Yeah.
they've given him Plaguewind, 2 versions of it. Oh, someone's joining us back from the dead. Yeah. Well, hello.
Hooray!
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Coming through, Dave. Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Dave.
It's nice to be back. What have I missed?
We were
We've
just
been
talking.
brewing.
Over each other.
Yes. Sorry, who wants to go first?
One of you guys.
Glenn, do you want to take the welcome back to Dave first?
No, because mine probably isn't going to be nice.
Okay. All you've missed,
Ouch.
Dave, is hearing John bemoan the lack of disgustingly resilient in the Death Guard.
Oh, sad, isn't it? It's a sad
Yeah,
I mean,
situation.
it's
My most-
not confirmed gone yet, but you know, we're all hoping. We're all hoping.
I'm pretty sure as soon as they released the factions, that was the first thing Dave said to me. Basically, went no.
Yeah, I think that with the way that it's going, with being simplified, it would make sense. I think they would have mentioned something as big as that.
I think
So hopefully it's just gone, never to be even mentioned again. It never existed.
Well, like, you know, all of the other factions that have -1 damage, that's kind of disappearing. They reckon it's gone on dreads and stuff like that. So it might just not be a thing anymore.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. As long as it balances out, who cares? Not me. Yeah.
I had the tears.
Well, yeah, but I think they're not looking too bad. But enough about me. How about you, Dave? How did you find the tower? I never looked at it after I set it up the other day.
Mixed emotions. I don't think it's too bad. I think that it's going to be weird getting used to the whole the changing drones, because it seems that they're now going to be more sort of like equipment rather than their own unit.
War gear, right?
Still have your own units, yeah. So, but I never really knew how to play tower anyway, so it's not going to make much difference, is it? So,
No.
as long as they still pack and punch, and I think the main thing with them is that you need to keep them mobile, because the combat embarkation rule obviously has been mentioned, which I think is quite a cool rule, which you can basically get units right all the way up there, and then they can just get back in a transport and when they're charged. So I think there'll be some new interesting rules, but as long as they pack the punch that they used to, that's my biggest concern, because everything seems to be a little less punchy.
I think it'll be one of those things where the first couple of games will get an idea of it quite quickly, because it might just be, you know, they've purposely tweaked it so that actually you have more units on the table for longer, so you get through the turns. Whereas, like, do you remember when Armor of Contempt first came out, and like you'd play the game and you'd just be like, you just couldn't shift anything,
Yeah,
and it was just back and forth like attrition, but you'd last the five battle rounds. Then they took it away, and then you went back to what it was like early ninth, where it was a bit more swingy. You had to be a bit more considered, but you just had to be prepared to lose stuff because you would lose lots of stuff. I think they're probably going for a middle ground between the two, right? So they take away a lot of the AP. Then there's not the arms race that they found themselves in ninth as well. It's like, right, every time we release a new codex or new faction, we're going to have to give them more AP because that's like that was the currency they were dealing with. So maybe by just doing it this way, it gives it like might be a longer game, but might keep units around for a bit longer.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting.
Sorry, Glenn, what was that?
I was going to say, not if Dave brings a storm surge, because I think you mentioned the arms race. That is now, I think, officially the biggest gun that I've seen rules for so far. That is just disgusting.
Yeah, but it's also like a very expensive model. It's not something you can bring out all the time, is it? A storm surge. It's not going to be an auto include. So,
I don't know.
Until I get one, in which case it's definitely an auto include.
You're going to spend that kind of money on it. You're going to want to auto include it.
Yeah, that's true.
Imagine that 24 wounds if it goes off.
What was because that was obviously that was one of the big ones, but then wasn't in the night update, didn't they have like a big gun as well? That
Their big harpoony thing.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's not that good, and it's only about an 18-inch range as well.
Oh, okay.
Giant harpoon gun.
Yeah, that's one attack, 2+ ballistic strength, strength 24, AP -6, damage 12, and then the Tau is 2 attacks, 24 inches, 4+, strength 24, AP -6, damage 12. If you do the focused, but then the dispersed ones just as grim as well. If you want to wipe off a bunch of Terminators or something. Ugh, nasty weapons, horrible.
Yeah, there's a lot of punchy ones.
Let's delete that. Let's not have Tau anymore. Get rid of that.
I think it'd be interesting with the Death Guard as well, because hopefully you won't have the world's fastest Death Guard army.
Well, I'm investing in Land Raiders for this edition because it's the only way I'm going to get around, I think, and do a bit of shooting from them.
Was that me or my internet that went there? No.
So how Land Raiders though, they don't come cheap, do they, John?
I don't know. I don't have one, so I've never painted one or fielded one, so I don't really know what they're at the moment.
Do you mean points or pounds, Shane?
A bit of both.
Yeah, well,
they're not too bad points wise, but they're an investment, especially if you want more than one.
Yeah, well, nothing comes cheap in this game, does it?
The last time I took a Land Raider was about 260, wasn't it? Somewhere around that kind of mark.
I mean, just looking in the back of this codex, it's 285, but I don't know what it's been adjusted to throughout 9th edition. But when it first came out, that's where it was. So it's still quite a chunk.
I also bought a Land Raider in years. I think the last time I bought a Land Raider was about 45 quid. I think they're probably about 60 now, aren't they?
Mm. Yes, that probably sounds about right.
It seems to be what they've been promoting the most out of this, though, isn't it? That you can now have gun decks from certain transports. So I don't know if they've got a backlog of them they're trying to shift.
For Marine players, Land Raiders have become better now because you can take Firstborn and Primaris, whereas when it first came out, obviously you couldn't take Primaris and a Land Raider, and therefore everyone that was running Land Raiders was like, well, they're going to go on the shelf if you're taking Primaris. So I think by making that rule, there probably are like, right, now we can start selling Land Raiders again.
I'd go the other way though as well, because I don't have, well, I have one Primaris vehicle, but because the majority of stuff I have is Firstborn, M could go in that either. So I'd be more tempted to put some Firstborn stuff in Well, I suppose now you've got like the assault intercessors and stuff like that, but the little 6-man transports, I can't remember what they're called.
The Predator. Oh no, Razorback. Razorback.
No, the Primaris one.
Oh, I can't remember.
Also, or repulsor.
I would have had elite infantry killing close combat stuff jumping out of that, because like, other than like say assault intercessors, meh, what are you really going to have jumping out of that? It was sort of like a little gun platform more than anything to get, I don't know, like some assault plasma intercessors or whatever you call them up there. But no, I'd be more tempted to run things like that with, you know, some good choppy stuff. See, not Terminators, but yeah.
Yeah.
I've stopped.
Yeah, I don't know how many Marines can you get in a Land Raider? I don't know what they've said it's going to be.
I'm not 100% sure. It kind of fluctuates. It used to be 12, then it dropped to 10.
Hmm.
Like you can get, it's either 12 or 14 in a Redeemer, and I think 16 in a Crusader.
Because that's where you'd have, like, for you, Dave, like the Crusader squad, the Black Templars jumping out of, the full 16 jumping out of the Land Raider. That'd be quite good.
It'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Yeah, I think I'll end up getting one. And a Storm Surge. This is going to be a very, very expensive edition for me.
Yeah, fair enough.
That would be good. Like just two Land Raiders going up with 2 Crusader squads. It'd be beautiful.
And then dropping in Terminators out of Deep Strike, turn 1, apparently.
Oh, is that going to be a thing?
I think I've read somewhere that it's not been clarified. But yeah, like, apparently it's not been. They haven't seen it. Not enough has been confirmed. It could be a thing.
Well, you could do it in the enemy's turn as well if you play your cards right and put them in a good spot. Because that's going to be is that going to be a CP?
Got a stratagem, the teleport homer.
Yeah, you can drop it in the enemy's turn.
Yeah, I didn't look at that, but that would be interesting.
I've just found the old leak rules thing, so bear with me. I'll tell you. Rapid ingress.
Oh yeah.
At the end of your opponent's movement phase, one unit from your army that is in reserves can arrive on the battlefield as if it was the reinforcement step. So basically you can just appear during a battle round it would not normally be able to do so in. So that could be first. Throw some Terminators in behind cover.
That would be an interesting turn 1.
That's going to sort my 4-inch problem out. That's what she said.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, someone else should have said that.
You telegraphed it far too easily, John. So that was, I was going to say, so that's Tau and Death Guard.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had, was it Elder? What did you say? Elder, Admech, and Knights.
And Knights, yeah.
We kind of briefly touched the Knights. They've got like lots of big weapons, and they're Knights.
Yeah.
I didn't really look too much more into it. I don't know if anyone else did.
No, I don't really know what I'm looking at there.
I had a look. Yeah, I mean, it is very nightly. You basically take a nightly vow to accomplish something, and then once it's accomplished, your army gets a little bit better across the board. It's a nice little thing, but I don't think it'll be a game-breaking thing.
Yeah.
And it might be, it might not be. I'm just sort of trusting them to have balanced everything, because like I said last week, this is the first time that they've had a chance to balance everything at the same time, get along. So I'm sure they've spent a lot of time making sure that it is as even as they can across the board. That's pretty much the only thing that sort of stood out to me with the Knights. Everything else was just sort of like, Yeah, because I don't
Yeah.
have them.
No, that was I think that's fair. So then AdMech, did you look at, because I haven't seen AdMech or Eldar, I missed both of those updates.
I've been looking at each of them as they've come out every day. Yeah, the AdMech stuff is it's I don't know if I'm gonna like it because it doesn't seem to suit what I've got or my play style with them. Because I tend to be very just Rangers and Vanguard, and then the big things that do the killing. Whereas I think it's a lot more of the basic stuff supports the other better troops to do stuff, makes them better. I mean, like there's some other stuff with, kind of like the radiation affecting stuff, and I'm not displeased, but I'm not pleased either. I don't know enough. I want to see all of the rules to see if like how I can operate my army and what I've got. If I need to add some stuff, if I need to drop some stuff out to make room for some things that'll function a bit better. But yeah, they didn't really show off anything too spectacular.
Fair enough. And is that the same for? So that was AdMech. Eldar wise, anyone saw anything that they particularly liked about the Eldar?
No, I didn't really look at it, to be honest. Just because
they're magic dice.
Yes.
Interesting.
I always forget about the magic dice.
Was it 12? It was 12 dice. I think you roll at the start, and then you can pick and choose those dice throughout the battle to change for, to not change, but to simulate a roll. But then you've got things like your guardian sitting on objectives. You can use one of your fate dice, but then it always counts as a 6. So nice, it's nice little things in there. I think with enough, because I think you don't maybe see an awful lot of guardians in an Eldar army. I think the majority of times, if you're going to take basic troops, you go Avengers, just better in kind of every way than a standard guardian. So I think if that's just a guardian thing, you might see some more guardians floating around, sitting on objectives, and sort of just generating these extra 6s that you can then chuck at more important things.
Yeah, it feels like we haven't really seen the Eldar much at all in the last couple of editions. And I know it's because we all play Marines or Marine variants generally.
None of us play them.
It's
not. I haven't dabbled with them in maybe since about 7th, maybe even longer. See, I am quite out of touch with how they play. You never know. Maybe that'll be the new project for 10th, along with every other project that I have.
Those grey-green knights, they're already on the shelf.
No, they are still literally on the table, unfinished, that are behind the iPad I'm talking to you on. I was thinking, I've only got 15 left to build. Yeah, that was the case like 2.5 weeks ago. Still getting no closer. I've had the most unproductive weekend ever.
Have you at least shuffled them around the desk so they look like they've moved?
No, not probably. No. I do want to see what, same as everybody. Everybody wants to see what their army is going to get. And like the little teasers they did is all right, but it's only giving you a taste. You'll never get like the full, this is what I can do. And I don't think even with what we will see on sort of release day, I'm not 100% sure that will be what your army can do until you actually get a codex.
Yeah.
What? Drinking?
What am I drinking? It's a Smirnoff Raspberry Crush. It's not mine, but it was just in the fridge. It needs to go. So
your 14-year-old girlfriend.
Yeah, but I finished off that one. Mango.
Oh yeah.
Strawberry one. But then I'll go back to form in a minute and I'll have my cider. If you stop insulting me and I hang around long enough.
It is like the like the in-betweeners off the order, though. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, mister, here's 20 quid. Can you get me some drinks?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you want?
Well, I bought them for I bought them for my missus to have over like all the kids' birthdays and stuff, and she drank one out of them, so I've just polished them off. She's not going to drink them, so someone might as well. They're not too bad.
They do the job, right?
Yeah, they're all right. I didn't think I'd like this one, but it's actually very nice. When my raspberry bush starts producing raspberries, I'm going to get some vodka and make my own. See how well that goes.
That'll be an interesting one. I'm up for seeing the result.
When I poison myself.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Moonshine.
Yeah. In about 6 months' time when I'm blind on here because I've ruined my eyesight.
Yeah.
Your painting might improve.
I don't think you'll even attempt to make alcohol from it. I can just see you around John's house and he's just got a bottle of Smirnoff with some raspberries poked in the top of it.
That's pretty much what I'm going to do. But I'm not going to tell you that's what I've done. Oh, shit.
See this raspberry floating around in the rink, yeah.
See how it goes. It's a shame I can't make it in time for download.
Is that a shame? Is that a shame?
Anyway, so.
Right, Dave's going to just poison us with rum anyway.
Pretty much. Well, no, your brother's asked for whiskey.
Whiskey.
So
Yeah. He's just being
he's going to
difficult.
get rum, and then I'm just going to tell him that it's whiskey. This is really nice. Give him enough, he won't know the difference.
No.
I haven't really looked at too many of the armies that I don't have. I haven't looked at them because I know that I'll be tempted to get a new army, and I think that I've got lots of sisters to build and paint, lots of admech to build and paint, lots of Tau to paint, lots of Necrons to paint, lots of Marines to paint. So I don't really want to add Knights or Eldar or Votan or any of the Chaos
you
stuff.
You do want a Knight though, didn't you? Everybody wants a Knight.
That's one thing that, yeah, I do. They are cool. But I'm not going to. I'll behave for now. I think my next one will probably be Guard.
Really?
Yeah, because as if the hundreds of models that I've got sitting there built and not painted is going to be enough of a challenge to get through. I'll just buy hundreds of guardsmen to paint. So, no, but I'd like to do that, definitely. I think they go well with the Crusade.
You say lots of models.
Yeah, just buy lots
just
of
a few tanks.
No, I mean you've got lots to build.
Oh yeah.
You know nothing.
Yeah. Wait till you have a shop in your.
I'm only 3 years into the hobby. You're like a lot further along than that. So
yeah.
That's a good thing the Guard have got with their shock troops, where you can just once they get wiped out, you can just bring them back as a completely new unit. So depending on how easy they are to kill, like pretty decent. That's one thing. Huh?
That'll be quite easy to kill.
Yeah, quite easy to kill, but they're like Necrons that are annoying that just keep getting back up.
Yeah.
Although that mechanic's changed.
Yeah.
The old resurrection protocols aren't quite the same.
So how do you feel about that change? Because that's probably like the easiest one for you to compare, I think.
No, I think it's all right. I think it's as I said, I think it will be fairly balanced. I think it's a bit more intuitive, and I think it'll be better for the bigger units that never really got to take advantage of resurrection protocols before, just because of the way it worked. So I think it's all right. I think what it will do is it will change. I mean, a lot of people that have played against Necrons before, they know that you just kind of have to wipe the unit out in a turn, and I think that will just continue being the way. But everyone will do that going into the start of this edition. I don't think there'll be too many gotchas. I think it will just be armies focusing on a particular unit to get it wiped off the board. But that's not a bad thing either, because again, if most of the army, your opponent is focused on one unit, the rest of your units can go about doing what they need to do.
Yeah.
So I think overall it's fine. I think it'll play okay.
Is it?
What a lot of people have been saying, it seems that it's going to be a bit more reliable as well.
Yeah.
So you sacrifice the luck element of it for a bit more reliability, I guess. So again, it's going to be one of those ones that I think when you play it, you'll see how it works, and it'll be a bit of an adjustment at first, because it was quite nice when you get some good rolls and you can just see the pain in someone's eyes as you just keep bringing back warriors or whatever it may be. But yeah, we'll see. I think with a lot of these things, it's just until you actually play it, you're not really sure how it's going to work.
Yeah.
Is it a phase or a turn?
So it's
in the command phase.
Yeah, it's the command phase now, and it's is it D3 wounds?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
but more of it's if it's your Necron warriors, because they always get a bit of a bonus, and it's the model. If a model was missing wounds, you top them up first. And then once you've topped it, if no models in a unit have got missing wounds, then you stand units back up.
Yeah.
So it's like the living metal in 9th, where you had units like a lot of the big units had the living metal keyword, so they'd get 1 wound back in the command phase. Some of them would get 2 back. It's more like that, but you're rolling D3.
Hmm.
So that's,
I think there's also you can bring back models as well.
Yeah, that's it.
If they've got a wound, then they get a wound back. If they don't have wounds, but they're not their starting strength, they get one back.
They get yeah. So if you've got you had a unit of 10 Necron warriors, and you had 8 at the start of the command phase, and you rolled 3 for your wounds back, 2. Actually, that's a bad example, but 2 would stand back up. Whereas if you had Scorpec destroyers, and it was a starting strength of 3, one's been killed, one's on full wounds, and one's on, I don't know, 2 wounds, you'd roll your D3. If you got a 3 there as well, the ones on 1 wound would get a wound back, and then another model would stand up. There or thereabouts.
Yeah,
you'd have to work the maths out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, I think it will be people will just be focused on trying to wipe units out rather than seeing them stick around.
Which is pretty much what happens anyway, like you said. So it's not going to change much. Just might be a bit more reliable.
It might be that you actually see things like the Necron warriors not stick around, because right now, where they get to do the resurrection protocols after every combat, or every unit's action against them, whereas you'd now just have to wait for each command phase.
Are they going to get a similar rule of just going to bring a bloody whole squad back? Hopefully not. Like the guard. I haven't seen that. That'd be horrible.
It would make sense thematically, but I haven't seen anything to say that would be the case.
That'd be really upsetting, because they're hard enough to shift as it is. And then, like you say, with it changing, hopefully that might not be the case. It might be easier to get rid of blobs of hordes rather than actual bigger models.
Well, I think that's where they want to go with the rule. They want the big things to be tougher, so it makes sense that not necessarily easier to get rid of the hordes of stuff, but just it might seem that way because the big things are just so much more difficult to shift now.
Yeah. You say that they're going to damage bloody 12 railguns and stuff. That's horrendous.
It doesn't switch off the in button anymore.
No,
the fun part of
nice.
Which is just seeing the look in your eyes and like, well, that hits. Oh, okay.
No.
Not
Let me just remove that from.
The amount of times I go, well, that's a 4-up, and you're like, no, it's not.
not turning off invuns and damage caps. That's the other one that's probably going. Is going to be interesting. So, not turning off invuns, I think is all right. I could live with that. I think that will give balance.
Oh, can you? Oh, good.
I can.
Doesn't.
Well, no, because
Did you have any weapons that could turn off invuns?
Yeah, I used to do it all the time with the Demon
Sure.
Prince and the Shard of the Nightbringer. And so you're not gonna. But that's the other thing with the Shard of the Nightbringer is that you might not have that only 3 wounds per phase rule anymore. Same as Abaddon and Gazcol might lose it as well, which will be interesting. I think that would be. I think for Abaddon, it's not too bad because he'll be in a unit, right? So, or is he alone? Is he a lone operative?
I just set him up a second ago.
Beast, I think he'll probably be running around by himself, same as like a Gazgol.
Gazgol would be, wouldn't he?
See, I don't know. They might be able to join a unit, but they're essentially on like a similar kind of level as a Primarch. Well, Abaddon is. Gazgol's maybe a little bit below that, but yeah, I don't think they'd be able to join. They'd be in units.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Like, in which case, as I said, them losing the damage cap might be an interesting one for those two particular. Like, I know it will be for the Shard if it does go away. Like, it's just not been mentioned yet.
I think Abaddon will be able to join a squad because it's leaders and bodyguards are the keywords you got to look for, and he does have the leader ability. So,
but he'd be joining he'd have to join like a Terminator squad, wouldn't he, or something?
Yeah,
like
probably
yeah,
something like that. So at least he wouldn't be on his own. But that's another
We were
one.
talking the other day, John, weren't we, about how cool it would be if Hellbrecht could join a 20-man squad worth of Crusaders.
Yeah.
But I don't think that would be the case. But that would be amazing.
I said cool through gritted teeth.
Before you.
Yeah. I said it was cool through gritted teeth. It would look cool to watch that happen to somebody else. When it's coming at me, I'm not interested.
Why wouldn't he be able to? Why do you think he wouldn't be able to?
I just don't know how the rules are going to work. It just seemed a bit ridiculous that Hellbrecht could join and then have 40 wounds that you have to shave off before you can even target him.
Well, not necessarily.
That'd be amazing.
Because you'd have units that have precision, which means you can take out the character.
Yeah, I
think if they're in a unit.
In combat, you can still target what's in base contact with you. So there's ways around it, but that's the way it and pre worked.
Okay.
Oh no, 7th and previous. 8th and 9th of what we've been playing now. Yeah. So like actual characters joining units, that's what you used to do. You used to put them with the unit. They charge up the battlefield. There'd be a couple of guys left. They were just a character delivery unit. So
okay,
Hellbrecht could work because that unit. The idea is that like a lot of the characters won't have auras like inch range. It will be the unit they're in.
Yeah. But it'd be definitely quite thematic to have him plopped in the middle of a bunch of Crusaders and just charging forward.
Yeah.
It does seem like this edition will be more thematic. From the bits and bobs that I've read, it just seems that they're trying to get it back to that how you imagine it in your head, if that makes sense.
Yeah, somebody
like with the guards coming back and all that sort of bits and bobs.
Yeah. But that's one thing I just noticed about the Blight Lords. They've lost the separate stat line. So they've just got Blight Lord Terminators. There's no longer a Blight Lord champion. So that obviously means you're going to have somebody wandering around with them, subbing in for the champion, I would have thought. And all their stats, obviously, like their attacks have all been melded together. So they don't have axes or swords anymore. They just have blades.
Yeah.
So
that's the same as because the Chaos Terminators, isn't it? That just came out at the end of 9th or coming out. They changed theirs, so it was all what were they called?
Curse
weapons,
right?
And like obviously with the Marines, it's all power weapons. So there's no difference between a power sword, a power axe, so on and so forth. It's just a power weapon.
Right. You'll be pleased to know, though, the flail of corruption has stayed the same.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, but I don't know if the wounds will spill over like they did the last time.
What's lethal? Well, we have to look up what lethal hits is.
I can't remember.
Yeah, that's what it's got next to it.
I think isn't lethal. Lethal might be the ones where if you get a 6, it creates a mortal wound.
So 6 attacks, maybe get a mortal wound out of it. A couple of mortal wounds out of it.
So if you get 6s, you get mortal wounds, but the attack sequence ends.
Yes. So you just, but that's just as good because then at least you haven't got to roll for the wound. So that's pretty good. But yeah, strength, attack 6, strength 5, same. Still 2 damage. AP is only -1 though. That's gone down. Same for the blight launcher. So yeah, it's not too bad. We'll see what lethal hits. If that's the case, a couple of 6s is always good. We'll see.
Especially the way you roll.
Oh yes.
With the loaded dice.
Yeah. Well, I'll just wait till you're not looking and I turn all the 6s up.
Yeah,
and when you're paying attention.
I think the other thing that will be quite good is they've sorted out the well, it looks like with a rules leak anyway, they've sorted out or they've cleared up the fight phase a little bit. So you've got the charge phase into the fight phase in terms of who fights when. So like there'll be no more when you've got like I think fights last is going to go away, which is good because that confused everyone, and it will just go to fights first, which is actually going to be really good. So if you've got a unit that's got fight first, so if you charge, your unit gets fight first. But if you charge into someone that's also got fights first, as like an aura ability or whatever, even if it's your charge phase, they will fight before you because you alternate between fights first units first, starting with whoever's turn it isn't.
Yeah.
So fights first is going to become like a really powerful mechanic.
And I hope that the old foul blight spawn his rule gets changed for fight. Lets that unit fight first.
Well, that's what it should do because then that becomes what it was intended.
That'd be good. And then he can melt people as they're running at him, and then hopefully not get squashed straight away. The only one I was watching Allspecs because he was talking about the new rules, and the only one that seems to be so far that he's picked out that seems to be confusing is big guns never retire, because since some people saying that now you'll be able, not the what's in combat with it, but other units will be able to shoot that vehicle that's in combat, and that vehicle will be able to shoot out. But there's obviously like 50-50 people saying no, that's not right because of the way it's written.
So I because that was when it first came out, it was like the guard, or there are tanks in the guard that have the turret rule, I think it is, where because it's got a turret weapon, that turret weapon can fire as if normal, even if it's in combat, like, but not into the unit it's in combat with. So you could be like, you know, there could be a load of gene stealers, for example, with a Lehman Russ, right? And normally you'd be like, right, Lehman Russ has to fire into that unit because they're tagged in combat. But now it'd be like, no, he can fire some of his like weapons into the gene stealer as he wants to, the cult. But then he could also turn the turret around and shoot at a jackal like that's down the road. Which I think I'd be quite happy with that. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Right? But I think they just need to. I think that's the thing is it's because they've left it the way it's written is a bit ambiguous. They just need to clear it up and be like it's this or that. Whereas right now, as written, both interpretations could be correct.
Yeah.
Yes, we get closer and more things come out because as much as they've tried to balance it and get it right, there will always be some people out there like, well, no, I think it means this.
Yeah.
It fucking literally don't. You're like, right. I see what you. They obviously don't mean that, but yeah.
There'll be someone who sat in the office when they typed that, went, yep, that makes perfect sense, send. And now they're watching these videos going, you fucking idiots, that's not what I said. That's not what it means. Not that we get it right anyway. We make it up as we go along half the time.
What you do?
Yeah, I do.
So have to get another wipe clean codex.
They're not all wiped clean. I'm just going to start cutting some bits out of this one that I like and gluing it to the next one. You never know.
Yeah, all the AP is mysteriously got a slightly different font on it in the new codexes.
Yeah. Why is your new codex peeling everywhere?
Nurgle.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's Nurgle's book.
Very thematic.
Mm. Have you guys had a look through the rules, the leaked rules in any depth?
I must have haven't.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did look. I got about halfway through, and then there was the Auspex tactics video, and so I looked on there as well. As I said, I do at the moment the lethal hits, critical hits, like all of this stuff. It's still all a bit confusing, so I'm just waiting to get. Once I've got a copy, you can read through it a bit more. But I'm sure it will make sense in time. But they're the bits you've got to learn rather than the other stuff. I'm sure it will make sense.
Them rules are going to take a couple of games to get it into your head. I think you're going to have to actually play it before you remember it, because there's like 12 different weapon profiles or something, or those whatever it's called.
You've been playing 9 for a couple of years. You can't remember half the rules. So
I can't. Yeah, I've had one army this entire time, and I still have to look up bloody the blight haulers every single time I use them. It's terrible. But like going over terrain, it's going to be easier. You don't lose 2 inches for going over pipework now.
Yeah, if it's less than 2 inches tall, you just ignore it effectively. You run through units. I thought that was quite good. So as long as you can move fully through your own units, you can move as if they're not there, which is quite nice. I think the charging is interesting. So you have, if you can, you have to get into base-to-base contact, but there'll still be an engagement range. So it doesn't mean you'll fail if you can't get base-to-base, but if you can get base-to-base, you can. And obviously that's to try and cut down the extra. They seem like they're trying to cut down the extra movement you'd get from charging or piling in for shenanigans purposes. And then consolidation was quite interesting in that you can only consolidate if you can get within engagement range of another unit, or you can get within claiming range of an objective. And if you can't do either of those things, you can't consolidate.
So you can't just shuffle your 3 inches anymore.
No.
So how does just to clarify then, when you charge and get in?
Yeah.
So say you need a 6-inch charge, but you get your 12. You can still wrap around, or do you have to just go to the direct point?
No, you could still wrap in that instance because you've got the thing. But what you wouldn't be able to do, let's say you had a 6-inch charge, and you got your 6, and then you didn't go base to base, and you used your pile in to wrap further round. That wouldn't happen because you'd be like, well, actually, no, you can base, because once you're in base, you can't then. That model can't then pile in any further. Units behind it can, not units, like other models in your unit behind it can still pile in, but they've got to work around the unit that's now, or the model that's now base to base.
Okay. I don't think we ever played it that way, where you sort of held back a little bit and moved around.
I think most of the time, most of us have made charges that are long enough to wrap around. I think you tend to find it more in the competitive scene, where they look at we don't play nearly competitively enough to be like, okay, we're going to do this and game the system, as it were.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure what you meant, because I don't think any of us have ever done it that way. We've just sort of gone in and like the wraparound is fine, and we've consolidated the normal way. But I don't think I've ever seen either of you hold off a bit against me and then use an extra 3 inches. So I wasn't too sure what he was talking about. But
Yeah, no, I think it's more competitive side of things. It's also like
I've used my 3 inches against you a few times.
hey, that's what she said.
I think it's also for which units you can get, like which models you'll get into actual fight, so it will limit that as well.
Mm.
Whereas we've always kind of played it, pile them in, get as many people as you can into the fight. You'll now have that kind of leeway to be like, well, no, actually, you've made the charge, but only 2 people can fight.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting.
Let's see if all this other stuff's on it. Oh, lethal hits. There we go.
It's a bit gibberish.
That doesn't make any sense at all because now I've got to look up critical hits.
That's what I mean. And critical hits are when you do a hit roll, if it's a critical hit, which I think is a 6.
Right.
But there will be, so like let's say you're hitting on a 3+, that's fine. But every 6 is a critical hit.
Yeah.
And then if you've got the lethal hits or lethal wounds ability, those then turn into mortal wounds.
Right, yes. Each time an attack is made with such a weapon, a critical hit automatically wounds the target. Okay.
And there'll be some units, models, or whatever it is, that their critical hit will be +1. So they'll do it on 5s rather than 6s.
Right, okay.
But as I said, we're not really going to know any of that until you start playing it and seeing how it all interacts. And what's on your data sheets. Because if you don't have any units that have any of those keywords, you're not going to care. But we will see.
Yeah. Oh, there's loads in there.
So this week, what have we got coming up next? It's Chaos Nights, isn't it?
Chaos Nights, yeah.
And then there's still a load of stuff that hasn't been yet as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a bit.
I think we've only done about 10, 12, somewhere around that.
1, 2, 3. 14 so far.
We're about halfway then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or is it 26? Something like that. 26.
Because you've got like a lot of the non-compliant chapters as well. So that'll be like Blood Angels, Dark Angels. Dark Angels haven't been yet, have they? Where have they? No. Templars, Space Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
You get all of them. So that they might do them all at once.
Yeah.
Or like
I mean, I'm looking at
the other.
The graphic they've put out. So they've all got different ones. So I'm sure they'll get their own day. You got Custodes, Orcs.
Oh yeah.
Green Knights or Grey Knights, whatever you want to call them, Death Watch, Imperial Agents are getting their own one.
You see, I don't know if that will be worth like a full day's preview, because that will probably show off most of them, because there's very, very few bits for them. That's your assassins and inquisitors.
Yeah.
Talking about 10 models max. They might not even do like all the Marines, because they've done Marines.
Yeah.
May not do, the non-compliant ones. They may just leave that because, there's not a huge amount that they could show off other than, probably the Lion.
Yeah.
Things like that. Yeah. Plus, are we running out of time?
When's the pre-order going up? Like early June? I think they will. I think they put that graphic out with the 20+ faction. I think anything that's got a graphic will get it today. Even if they put the pre-order up, they might still show it because I mean, if they've done Chaos Marines and Death Guard. I can't see why they're not going to do Templars, Blood Angels, because they're pretty big, and Space Wolves have got quite a lot of stuff. I think they will.
Yeah, I suppose done two of the Chaos ones now.
Yeah.
So,
1,000 Suns are still to come.
Yeah, that'll be
That's going to be an
interesting.
interesting one.
Old psychic thing changing a little
Yeah.
bit. We'll see what happens there. And all is dust may not be a thing anymore. We'll have to. Well, it probably will be a rule, but it might be different to what it is now. So we'll see. We'll see. And then this week, depending on when this goes up, is Skulls as well. I was saying this to you as well, John. So I think it's Thursday. You've got all of the computer game stuff.
Start before that.
Yeah, that'll be coming out. And Bolt Gun comes out on Tuesday. So I've got that on pre-order, so I'm waiting for that to come out, which is the Space Warhammer 40,000 Doom.
Yeah, that looks cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it. So I'll see how we go with that. I will let you know.
Well, like I say, I'm going to convince the kids they won't spend their birthday money on it. Now they're into Warhammer slightly. they've shown an interest.
Oh, well, any more?
No, I think that's everything so far for another week. Yes, Dave, you want to throw out some Primarch wrestlers quickly before we go?
Oh yeah, what did you
out last week?
Have you reviewed any of that, Dave? Any hot takes on our wrestling Primarchs?
No. McLaren, I would have gone for maybe Mick Foley.
Oh, that's come up.
I think he was notorious for being a bit stinky.
Yeah.
Fulgrim, Shawn Michaels.
Interesting take.
More importantly, Shane really wants to know where you come down on Jagatai Khan as biker taker. He's really pro that.
Yeah, someone tried pitching that in. Jagatai Khan as the American badass does not sit well with me.
I'm going to edit it so you didn't say doesn't sit well. And on that note, Exterminatus.
Oh dear, very good.
As always, we would like to thank you for listening to our Iron and Ceramite podcast. If you liked us, then you can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and any other good podcast services. Just remember, in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war.